All right, brand new tonight, we have even more text messages from Trump-hating FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Now, Senator Ron Johnson has put out a report that is raising questions about President Obama's potential involvement in Hillary Clinton's email investigation. Now, during a September 2nd, 2016 exchange about creating talking points for former FBI Director James Comey to give to President Barack Obama, Page writes, POTUS wants to know everything we are doing. All right, so what exactly did President Obama want to be briefed on? Now, sources close to Strzok and Page, they're telling the Wall Street Journal tonight that this message they sent doesn't have to do with the Clinton email probe and instead was talking about possible Russian interference in the election. So, in light of the new Strzok text, well, we need to know what investigation did Obama want to be briefed on? It's why tonight we have two very simple questions for Barack Obama and, frankly, everyone else involved in this scandal. Take a quick look.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
All right, that was Senator Howard Baker. That was during the Watergate investigation, asking very important questions that President Barack Obama and others now need answers to. They got to answer to everybody. We did reach out to Obama's spokesperson. We didn't get a comment from all of them. And by the way, shocking. Also tonight, there's a new batch of text messages that was just released from the Trump-hating FBI lovers, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. It highlights their investigative bias and, of course, their continued hatred of Donald Trump. On August 9th, 2016, Lisa Page writes, well, he's not ever going to become president, right? Right? Now, their hatred for Trump only grows from there. On November 3rd, 2016, only days before the election, Page wrote, well, the New York Times probability numbers are dropping every single day. I'm scared for our organization. Now, the Senate report notes this is likely a reference to the New York Times election forecast, which showed Trump gaining ground at that point in the election. Then on Election Day, November 8th, 2016, Strzok then says, oh, my God, this is blanking terrifying. And the next day, Strzok follows up with a, oh, my God, I am so depressed. And a few days later, on November 13th, here's what Lisa Page texts. Pay close attention to this. Well, I bought all the president's men. I figured I needed to brush up on Watergate. And the following day, Page writes, God, being here makes me angry. Lots of highfalutin national security talk. And meanwhile, we have our task ahead of us. Okay, what task are they talking about? Now, Strzok and Page also called Trump an idiot, lonesome human being, talked about their insurance policy in case he won. So clearly they were abusively biased towards now President Donald Trump. And here's what's very important. Peter Strzok, and to an extent Lisa Page, who was Andrew McCabe's legal counsel, they're at the center of everything in all of this. Now, Strzok was a former top intelligence official at the FBI and signed the documents, remember, to start the Russia investigation. And Strzok also played a key role in the Clinton investigation, even interviewing Hillary and helping James Comey write that exoneration months before the investigation. And, of course, by overseeing the interviews of not only Clinton, but also General Flynn. And, by the way, he's the one guy who helped put the fix in, one of a couple. And that allowed Hillary Clinton to remain in this presidential race. Otherwise, very likely, if it was a fair investigation, she probably would have been indicted. And a new text message proves that on September 28, 2016, Strzok says, got called up to Andy's earlier, who we think is Andrew McCabe, hundreds of thousands of emails turned over by Weiner's attorney to the SDNY, the Southern District of New York, includes a ton of material from spouse. That means Uma Abedin sending team up tomorrow to review. This will never end. Here's why this is important. According to reports, what's in the upcoming DOJ Inspector General report we expect next month is what caused Andrew McCabe to abruptly resign at the end of last month. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the FBI officials, top officials, including McCabe, they knew about Uma Abedin's emails that were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop in September of 2016, but they waited for at least a month before alerting Congress. Now, that text message provides very key proof that's showing that Comey, McCabe, and others, they literally sat at a crucial moment on Uma Abedin's emails that were discovered on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, the question is why? And what took them so long to notify Congress, which they should have done? Now, the IG report is due out in the spring, probably in March, and hopefully those questions will be answered. Now, there are also other text messages from Strzok and Page that are raising a lot of red flags tonight. On May the 19th, 2 days after Robert Mueller was named the special counsel, Strzok was talking about joining the investigation with Mueller, and Strzok asked Page this question: an investigation leading to impeachment? Why are they talking about impeachment? Now, keep in mind, during that same text exchange on May 19th, 2 days after Robert Mueller was named special counsel, Strzok says, well, you and I both know the odds are nothing. If I thought it was likely, I'd be there, no question. I hesitate in part because of my gut sense and concern that there's no big there. So Strzok knew from the start that Mueller would be carrying out a witch hunt, pretty much. There's also new revelations about former Attorney General Loretta Lynch and her involvement in the Clinton email cover-up. In June 2016, Bill Clinton infamously, remember, meets with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac in Phoenix for 40 minutes, which caused Lynch to say on July 1st she's stepping away for the investigation and she would just accept the FBI's conclusion. Now, keep in mind, all of this is before Hillary Clinton was ever interviewed by the FBI. So after Lynch's statement that she was taking a back seat, she would go along with the FBI, and James Comey, the same guy that she said, don't call it an investigation, call it a matter, Strzok then writes to Page, oh, timing looks like hell. And Page replies, yeah, that's awful timing. And then Page later adds, it's a real profile in courage since she, Loretta Lynch, knows no charges will be brought. By the way, they hadn't interviewed Hillary yet. And 4 days later, Comey holds his press conference right after they interviewed Clinton, and that was Strzok's interview, and they let Clinton off the hook. So Page, Strzok, Lynch, Comey all knew that Clinton wouldn't be charged, and the Obama administration, in fact, was rigging it, and the fix was in. All right, also tonight, even more evidence that the FBI lied to a FISA court using that Clinton bought and paid for dossier to spy on the Trump campaign. Now, last night, we explained in depth about the unredacted details in the Grassley-Graham memo. Here are the highlights if you weren't with us. Now, the phony dossier, in fact, did make up the bulk of that FISA application. And in March of 2017, James Comey, he briefed Congress that the FBI used the dossier in a FISA application because they thought Christopher Steele was credible. So Comey, he just trusted Steele. Why bother verifying it? He didn't. Now, the FBI only vaguely referenced the dossier's political origins to the FISA court. So what they were doing was hiding the fact. They didn't tell the FISA court judge in their application that that dossier that they didn't verify was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton. Now, the senators also accused Steele of materially misleading the FBI. Now, Steele was working on a second dossier. Remember, we told you last night, and he, in part, this takes the cake, was being fed information from the Obama State Department and Clinton cronies, Clinton associates. Wow. So they're giving, literally, Clinton's friends are giving Steele some of the information he's using in that phony dossier, but the rest of the information came from the Russian government. Remember? He was saying the government was the source for the phony dossier material. Now, Steele was briefing several mainstream media outlets, these lies and propaganda, in the summer and fall of 2016 about his first fake news dossier. And according to British court records, Steele talked to reporters, let's see, from the New York Times, Fake News, Washington Post, Yahoo News, New Yorker, and, of course, the whole network, Fake News CNN, at the end of September 2016 about the dossier. And we previously uncovered that Fusion GPS co-founder, remember Glenn Simpson, he actually testified to a congressional committee that the Clinton campaign and the DNC were very aware that his company was contacting media outlets. They were coordinating, in other words, about the dossier, coordinating their efforts to leak these Russian lies. And also remember, the Senate report says the dossier, as we told you last night, full of information from the Russian government. Wow, there really is a Russia collusion story. Hillary, Russia collusion. Then, of course, there's the Republican House Intelligence Committee memo. Remember the highlights from that document. The former Deputy FBI Director, Andrew McCabe, revealed to Congress, without that dossier, the FISA warrant to surveil would never have been approved. Now, the FISA judge was, in fact, in this particular case, never notified that the dossier was bought and paid for, again, by the Hillary Clinton and the DNC, funneled through the same law firm, which, of course, is a huge problem. And we also know that James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Sally Yates, Dana Bente and Rod Rosenstein all approved surveilling in this particular case. Now, the FBI also used the Yahoo News article written by Michael Isikoff about the Carter trip to Russia. They were using it as separate and independent source to corroborate the phony dossier before the FISA judge, except the source for the Yahoo story was, of course, Christopher Steele. So the FBI never actually corroborated the information because Steele was the source of the dossier and the fake news story by Michael Isikoff. And we also know that no one ever verified what was in the dossier. And, of course, the memo shows that Steele was, suspended and terminated as an FBI source for leaking to the press. Demoted DOJ official Bruce Orr had a close relationship with Steele. And remember, Orr is the guy who had an office 4 doors down from the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who would later appoint Robert Mueller. And Orr's wife, Nellie, want to talk about just coincidences in life? Oh, Orr's wife was employed by Fusion GPS, specifically working on the anti-Trump opposition research. And Bruce Orr said that Steele said, quote, he was desperate. The author of the dossier, desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president. And finally tonight, the memo finds that during the first FISA application for that warrant, corroboration of the Steele dossier was in, quote, its infancy stage. They never verified the Russian paid-for lies by Hillary and the DNC. So the FBI lied to a FISA court judge. They used a dossier full of Russian lies to spy on the Trump campaign just before an important American election. And America's powerful tools of intelligence were weaponized to spy on an opposition campaign during an election year. Now, the key people involved need to explain themselves.